Hey guys, this is Anurag Sharma and I'm presenting this video for trainer program in SuperPros online online learning platform. As per your given option, I am preparing a video on fiscal policy of India. It is prepared by me, Anurag Sharma, and my email ID is registered as lovelearning360@gmail.com. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present my video, and let's begin with the topic that what is fiscal policy. So meaning of fiscal policy. See, to discuss any topic, first of all we need that what is the basic introductory portion. I'm talking about policy, fiscal policy. First of all, I would like to explain what is the meaning of fiscal and what is the meaning of policy. Fiscal means finance in our economics terminology. So whenever we talk about word fiscal year means financial year. So here I'm talking about fiscal policy. So it is that policy which is related to the finances of the government and basically the finances of the state government or central government. But here we'll be discussing this topic for the in the purview of central government, and it is on the sister strategy of monetary policy. As I've written over here, the basic difference between fiscal policy and monetary policy is that monetary policy is prepared by Reserve Bank of India and fiscal policy is prepared by Government of India, that is the Ministry of Finance Ministry. So it is related to government expenditure and income, that the sources of income where government is acquiring finances, and the expenditure where government is incurring expenditure. So basically the fiscal policy includes public expenditure policy, taxation policy, public debt policy, and deficit policy, deficit financing. It is known as income and expenditure policy or tax expenditure policy. So you can see this policy in the name of tax expenditure policy as well, or income and expenditure policy of government as well. So I hope that you got what is the basic criteria. It is a policy means here we will see that how we can make a balance between the government's expenditure and the government income. See, whenever there is more income and less expenditure, that situation is ideal situation. But in a developing country like us, we have more expenditure and certainly less income. So you have heard one proverb in Hindi language, that is Amdani Athani and Kharcha Rupaiya. So Amdani, we are earning less and we are spending more. So there is a gap. Amdani Athani and Kharcha Rupaiya means there is a gap of 50 paisa, and that gap is known as deficit. So that is the last portion over here, that is deficit financing, that gap, how we can overcome that gap, how we can bridge that gap. That is the deficit financing, and I'll explain these policies with you, that is public expenditure policy and taxation policy. So what is the mechanism of fiscal policy? I've explained it earlier, that it is an art of making a balance between tax and public spending. See, the sources of tax are the responsible from where government is earning, and the public spending where government is spending. So what fiscal policy, the major focus of the fiscal policy is to maintain that balance. So that's why I have taken this diagram, that I made this diagram, that there is a dire need of making that balance of tax and public spending, because if we spend more and we are getting less money, so that situation is again a situation of deficit. So we have to to cover that deficit, we have to take loans, and we have to take certain adjustments, and that is not a good picture. So what is the basic criteria with basic mechanism of fiscal policy is to make the balance between tax and public spending. So the basic idea of fiscal policy is to find a balance between changing tax rates and public spending. See, let's go through this diagram once again. What's happening over here? Tax, government is getting tax, and that tax is again spends on the public. So if there is a situation when an economy is a very stagnant economy where there is very less or very negative type of growth is going on, so we need to increase spending in that particular scenario. So how government can make public to spend more? Simple step, they will reduce tax. If there are less taxes, so public have more disposable income and public will spend more. So again, if they'll spend more, then economy will the cycle of economy will move, and definitely the it will benefit the economy in the long run. But while increasing the decreasing the tax slabs, we need to understand that it also leads to inflation. So we need to again the question arises that we need to make a balance between again the spending and expenditure. Decreasing tax may lead to increase spending of the public, but it will also lead to the increase of inflation, and inflation will decrease the purchasing capacity or purchasing power of the currency or money. So it is not advisable in a developing economy. So in this scenario, we can adjust the fiscal policy accordingly if there is a stagnant economy, and when the economy needs to curb certain slow down, we need to make economy a little bit slow down. So in that situation, what government can do? Again, in the previous scenario, in the previous situation, we have decreased the taxes. So in this situation, we will increase the taxes. So what it will do, there will be more taxes. So the more money will be suck out from the economy, and again people will have less money to spend. People will have less disposable income to spend. So the situation again will be neutralized. So basically, the art is to make balance between that expenditure and the income, and that is why that fiscal policy is made. So these are the basic tools and important tools of fiscal policy. The first one is public expenditure policy, second one is taxation policy, then comes public debt policy, and the last but definitely not the least is deficit financing. Now let's discuss what is public expenditure policy. It is very self-explanatory in nature. Public expenditure policy means where there is a need to spend money on public expenditure. So there are expenditures incurred by public authorities, be it central government, be it state government, or be it even a regional government, to satisfy the social needs. Wants is somehow it's not a that correct word, politically correct word, but social needs of the people, and those expenditure which are made to meet those needs, social needs, is known as public expenditure policy. And in developing countries like us, public expenditure policy, it accelerates economic growth, it promotes employment opportunity, and also plays a very important role in reducing poverty and inequalities in income distribution, and to raise the living standard of the public in general. So that expenditure policy is known as public expenditure policy, to meet the social needs of the public. What are the various types of public expenditure which are incurred by the government? That is developmental expenditure and non-development expenditure. What is development expenditure? I made these slides very self-explanatory in nature, so there is no they are very self-explanatory themselves only. Developmental expenditure are basically those expenditure which are incurred, and in return they are also giving something. For example, making better infrastructure. If infrastructure is better in an economy, means there are better roads connectivity, rail connectivity, there is a proper power management, there is very strong telecommunication network. Those type of expenditure are known as developmental expenditure. So it will increase the investment of the economy. Those expenditures are known as developmental expenditure. We need to incur more and more developmental expenditure, because if there will be more developmental expenditure, in return they will give us something. So public expenditure is incurred on the developmental expenditure. The next one comes the non-developmental expenditure. What are non-developmental expenditure? They are not developmental in nature. Means we are incurring because there is a need. For example, the social security programs. There are so many schemes which are incurred, which are government is incurring because there is a social need. For example, pension schemes. For example, schemes for the weaker section of the society. For example, schemes for the that rural background area or backward areas. Those expenditures are known as non-developmental expenditure. So I believe that you got that what are the various two expenditure. Broadly we can classify government's expenditure into two categories. One is developmental expenditure over here, and the other one is non-developmental expenditure. Then comes taxes. What is taxation policy? Tax is a very, what we can say, it is a very, scary word. It's not that scary. Basically, we have to explain what are taxes. So taxes, first of all, we need to understand that tax is the right of government. We should pay taxes honestly, and you have heard in so many news that the tax evasion cases are piling up in our country. And after demonetization strife, there are so many news is coming that related to tax evasion and how people are they are laundering money and all that. And taxes, what is taxes? Because it is paid, it is an involuntary fee, but it is levied by the government. So on individuals or corporations, and it is enforced by government entity, and it is taken by local government, regional government or national government in order to finance government activities. It is the right of government. Taxes broadly can be classified into two categories. One is direct taxes and the other one is indirect taxes. What are direct taxes? Direct taxes is those taxes which are paid directly by the assessee. See, if I am earning something, I am paying the taxes directly to the government. That tax is known as basically income tax, and it is directly levied on me, and I am paying that. So income tax is what tax? That is direct tax, which is levied directly on assessee and which is also paid directly by assessee. Whereas indirect taxes, again, very self-explanatory in nature, that indirect taxes are not directly paid by the assessee. Suppose I have gone to a restaurant, so I have paid, my bill of the food I have, I have eaten over there, and then there comes the service taxes, the service they have provided. Now I have consumed that service, but I am not paying that service tax directly to the government. I am paying that tax to the owner of that restaurant, and that owner is again, paying that tax to the ultimate government authority. So service tax is an example of indirect tax. So I believe you got a basic idea what are direct taxes and what are indirect taxes. Direct taxes are directly paid by the assessee only. Indirect taxes are not paid by the assessee directly, whether they are paid by a channel of various assessees in the loop. And best examples are income tax for direct tax and service taxes for indirect tax. So these are the two direct taxes. The basic difference, that is number one difference, the assessees one, and the second difference between direct tax and indirect taxes, that direct taxes are progressive in nature. What do you mean by progressive in nature? Suppose you have gone through that budget statement. So there are slabs. If I'm earning from this to this amount of money in a year, I'll be paying that amount of tax. For example, I'm just taking example. I'm not giving you real figures. For example, if my earning or income for 1 year ranges from 2 lakh to 2,50,000 to 5 lakh, I'll be paying 10% of income tax. If I'm earning more than 5 lakh and less than 10 lakh, say I'm paying 20%. So you can see that with the increase of my income, the tax is also increasing. So that is progressive in nature. Whereas indirect taxes are those taxes that are non-progressive in nature. If I'm paying suppose 1 rupee of tax on a chocolate, so if I'm buying that chocolate, maybe I'm driving a limousine or a Mercedes, even then I'm I'll be paying 1 rupee on that chocolate. And if someone else is buying that chocolate, he will also pay that 1 rupee of tax. So that tax is not progressive. So indirect taxes are non-progressive in nature and direct taxes are progressive in nature. So these are the basic two differences in the taxes. Then what are the objectives of taxation policy? Again, mobilization of resources. I explained in the previous point that we need to mobilize the resources, we need to channelize the resources, and taxation can play a very important role in that. We can promote saving, increase taxes, people will save more, people will invest more, and there will be an equality of income and wealth. So this is the basic idea of the fiscal policy. Again, I would like to express my gratitude to the Superprops team for giving me that opportunity. I hope you like this video, and thank you so much. Love learning. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.